This video will demonstrate how to use a Ruby Rakefile to execute Modelkit commands. So in our previous video we showed how to use the command window to execute these Modelkit commands to compose the models and simulate the models. An easier way of using those Modelkit commands is to make some tasks within a Rake file and then execute those tasks using Ruby Rake. So a Rake file is a software task management and build automation tool. It's similar to a Makefile, which is for the C programming language. Basically what it is a text file that Ruby recognizes that you can create various tasks within to, instead of manually typing out commands in a command window, you can automate that process by making a Rake file and then specifying which task you want to execute, and you can pass it different arguments and everything like that. And in my opinion, the combination of using a Rake file with Modelkit to manage these different tasks that Modelkit can perform is really what takes it to the next level in terms of usefulness and automation. So this is a simple Rake file that has 3 tasks, and this is really, I think, the simplest Rake file that you could want for executing the basic Modelkit tasks. And the way that these tasks are written is there's a description on the first line. So this task is to generate the case files, and you might not need this if you just want to create case files manually. But then we have the next task, which is compose models from case files and then simulate models in the runs directory. So continuing on from our previous example, we're trying to simulate a model over the 16 California climate zones. So the first thing we do is initiate our directory structure here. We specify a variable to store the string of where our Energy Plus engine that we're going to use is. I call it EP_dir. And then we have our Modelkit directory, which is in my documents folder under Modelkit Catalyst. And then the template directory is that directory plus templates, net zero templates. Similarly for the weather directory, we've got the templates directory plus weather and so forth. This has our main directory, which is where we save the modelkit.rb. So this is in our simple project Modelkit folder. We have this rakefile.rb. We have our runs folder and our cases folder. We have a list of locations that we want to create case files for and then compose the models for and then simulate those models for. So we have locations CZ01 through CZ16. So for our first task, we just want to create these case files, which we started to create manually in a previous video. And all we're doing is we're setting the location to CZ01 in our CZ01.pxv, and we're setting the location to CZ02 and so forth. We want to do that for all 16 climate zones. So we can have a list of locations, and then within our cases task we can do a loop over the location in location. So for each item in this locations list, which we're calling location, so puts is the Ruby syntax for print to screen, so it'll print to the command window generating cases for whatever location is in the first item in this locations list. So, and then the pxv path, this is our case file. We're saying that that's in the cases directory, location.pxv, and we're creating a string that we're going to save into that case file. And the string that we're going to create is :location equals greater than, and then the whatever the location item is, CZ01 through CZ16. And then we're going to write that case file using that string. So that's all this task is doing. And now in order to run that, we have to open our command window again. So as I demonstrated in the previous video, we can, if you have it set up, you can hold Shift, right click on Modelkit, and then open command window here. If not, you can go to search, cmd, enter, and then go to navigate to that folder. So once we're here, and I should mention before doing this, you do have to add Ruby to your path. It's an environmental variable called path. I'm not going to go through how to do that here, but in order to check that you have Ruby enabled for commands in your command prompt like this, you should be able to type ruby -- version, and as long as it says some version of Ruby, it should work regardless of which version of Ruby you have. So assuming that works, if we do rake -- tasks, it will list the tasks that we have. So in this case we have 3 tasks: rake cases, compose, and sim, and then it has that description after each one. Alternatively, you could do rake -T, and that will do the same thing. It will list the tasks available. So now to create these case files, and let's just delete all of our existing case files just so we know that they're being created. We can even delete this compose.bat now because we're just going to use the Rake file to do all our compositions. So we just have an empty cases folder. Go back to the command prompt and we type rake cases, and this just generates cases CZ01 through CZ16. And if we just open up one of these case files, it just has the location, and it sets the location to whatever climate zone that case file is for. So now that we have all of our case files, we want to compose all these models using these case files. So if we go to our runs folder, we'll just delete everything in there, just so we know that the models that we're creating are being created through this Rake file. So if we take a look at our compose task, we're again iterating over this list locations, and for location and locations we're creating a PXV path. So this is the path to the case file that we want for each location, and then we're writing to the screen that we're composing this case, and we're setting the output directory to the runs folder, and then we're creating a folder with the location name, the CZ whatever, and then we're creating our IDF file called instance.idf inside that folder. And then similarly, we're setting the root path by taking the root directory and adding this root.pxt. So this is the same command that we showed in the previous video, except it has parameters so that it can vary the case file and the output path for each location. And then we write system, which is a Ruby syntax for performing a system command, to execute this command. And it will do that for every location and locations. So if we open our command window again and we type rake compose, then it composes an instance.idf for each climate zone, and it puts it in the climate zone folder that we created for each run. So now if we look in runs, is creating each of these folders and the instance.idf inside that folder. And if we just do a quick comparison against, say, climate zone 16 and climate zone 15, we should see that the only difference between these models is the design day. So in the annotations here, it shows us that we have a different location for each file. And then if we go down to the next difference, each model has different site location objects, and that's what we want. And after the site location, everything is the same. So now that we have all those models composed, we'll take a look at our sim command, which is how we're going to simulate all these different models with the appropriate weather file. So similarly, we are looping over our locations list, and we set the output directory to the same. These are actually the same 2 lines here in our compose command. And then we set a weather path, which varies by location. So we have that set to our weather directory, which we set up here. It's a template directory plus weather, and then our location.epw. And then we call the system command Modelkit energy plus run -- weather equals our weather path and then our output path. So just a tip, I don't want to run all of these locations right now. So in order to simulate a subset of the locations in our locations list, we can just redefine locations below that list with something shorter. So we'll just do climate zone 3 just to try it out. So we'll just simulate climate zone 3 for now and make sure it works, and then we can simulate the entire list after that if we want. So we'll do rake sim, and it is simulating climate zone 3. So now, if we want to comment out this line, just put a hashtag or a pound symbol in front of that bottom locations list. Now it will simulate, if we do rake sim, it will simulate for all of these locations. And it will just do it in series, so first it'll do climate zone 1, climate zone 2, then climate zone 3. There is a way to simulate multiple models at the same time in parallel, and that's using what's called a Ruby gem, and it's called work queue. That's a little more advanced, and I'm not going to cover that in this video, but just to let you know, you can use the Ruby gem called work queue, and then you can parallelize your energy plus run, so you can run, say, 6 models at a time, and that makes it a little bit quicker. But that's all I want to cover in this video, so thanks for watching.